Hey, what's up, man?
Come in. Let's make some tea.
Hey, I had a question. Can you
Yeah.
tell me about a time when your language was disciplined?
It's actually been happening a lot recently since I've been home with the pandemic, living with my parents. I guess I was just in the practice of casual speaking, so not really code switching, just talking and using slang and African American vernacular English. And lately, my dad has been correcting my English a lot, because I'm using things that don't really exist in English language. But I think a lot of it just comes out of his fear that I'll be judged for sounding less than intelligent because of the way I'm speaking. And for African Americans especially, we have to practice our code switching to make sure that we can function in other settings without being judged or looked down upon on top of being black. So I think a lot of his fear comes from that. And so even if we don't want to subscribe to white supremacy, we still kind of end up having to subscribe to it because naturally speaking, we have to kind of code switch so that we can make sure that we're acceptable in certain positions.
Hey, so I had another question.
Yeah.
Have you ever made an assumption about anyone because of how they communicate?
I have. And I know I just was talking about how communication can be linked back to racism, but I've fallen into those same patterns before. I've made assumptions that based on the way someone speaks, they might be from a certain geographical location. Like if you're using words like finna, I'm assuming you're from the South. If you use words like mo or jai like, I'm thinking you're from the DMV like me. Other times it's been a little less positive. I've thought that based on how people speak, it reflected their educational levels. We've been taught to make these assumptions because of the society we live in, and we are products of our environment. So through that teaching, I think I've made the assumption that if you speak a certain way, it shows the environment that you're from. And it all relates back to how you were brought up and who you're around.
Answering that question, I was curious. It's a pretty nice day outside. You want to go step out to the deck?
Yeah, let's go. Let's set that down there.
Hey, what does appropriate language mean to you?
To me, appropriate language means being able to communicate effectively in your given environment. It matters how we interact with others, and being able to understand your audience and communicate the best way with them is important. But looking at the word appropriate implies that there is inappropriate forms of communication. And based on that, some people's very existence is inappropriate. When we look at the work that Law and Corrigan did in their paper White Speak, they talk about how language is built on racism and white supremacy. So when we examine that, as we look at what is considered appropriate, it forces you to realize that language has been a tool used to systemically oppress others.
Thanks for that, by the way. It's a cool pool you got over there.
Thanks. We're living large. Let me walk you out.
Of course. I've got things to do. I'm a busy man.